For sprint car racing, it doesn't get any bigger than the Knoxville Nationals. Held since 1961, it's often referred to as the granddaddy of them all. And with a winner's check of $150,000, drivers and fans come from all over the world to celebrate this historic event.
This is the mecca of dirt tracks for sprint cars. This is where the Knoxville Nationals is held. This is what you're here for. This is the biggest trophy, most history, toughest format. All of the above is what this is this week.
For NASCAR, it would be the equivalent of the Daytona 500. For IndyCar racing, the Indy 500. This is the biggest race of the year. So all the main talented sprint car drivers from across the country and around the world actually come for this event.
We race here a couple times throughout the year, and the back straightaway is always empty. And then when you put 15,000 people on the back straightaway, the track actually feels smaller. So it's just it's a great atmosphere. As a driver, there's no better week.
NASCAR superstars rooted in dirt track racing also make the pilgrimage to Knoxville, showing their support and meeting the fans.
It's a big deal for us. This is what we're into. This is what we do for fun on the side. Jeff sponsors the car that is owned by Kyle Larson and driven by Shane Stewart. Casey Kane has 2 cars, and then I have my car with Donny Schatz. So when you get here to Knoxville, once the night starts, the fun kind of goes away because you're nervous about what's going to happen with your race cars.
Sprint car racing is all about power, and the teams showed off some impressive machinery this year.
A sprint car, especially a wing sprint car, has over 900 horsepower, and the car by itself weighs about 1,300 pounds. So the power to weight ratio is incredible. It's better than a Formula One car. So you have the right rear tires bigger than the left rear tires to make it turn around the corner. They can be a handful at a time, but they're very, very fast.
For 2015 champion Donny Schatz, Knoxville has been a welcome fixture over the years with 9 Nationals titles to his name.
I know I have to focus on what it is I do, and that's what I've always done, and I think that's helped me be in the position that I'm in today. I got all the faith in the world, and in Tony Stewart Racing's guys, they do a phenomenal job, and they got an impeccable record here. So I'm going to hope that they read through all the notes from the last 10 years and try to do the best they can with it.
Donny's a guy that's got enough confidence that he doesn't have to feel like he has to start on the front row to win the race. He knows that, you know, if he's in the first 3 or 4 rows, he's got as good a shot as anybody.
Everybody knows Donny's going to be the guy to beat. He has been for several years now, but we can beat him. And I feel like we've got the car and the confidence to do it.
This place owes me nothing. It owes me no victories. It owes me nothing. And when you figure that out, you realize that we're all here to have a great time. We're going to make the best of it.
Before the big Saturday night showdown, drivers test themselves over 3 nights of heats and qualifying.
When you come to the Nationals, you know you're going to have a lot of cars. They're going to be roughly 120 cars. So they take and split that in half. Half them cars go one night, half go the next night. And then when you go to qualify, you get points for every time you go on the racetrack. Qualifying points, you get heat race points, and then you get feature points. So you really got to be on your game. Your car's got to be on, you got to be switched on, you got to get going at the start. There's no time for any error whatsoever.
After being drawn 25th for qualifying, Schatz posted the 5th fastest time for his heat race, which in turn led him to the first big race of the week. It was a fierce battle with rival Shane Stewart, who won the Wednesday night race, but it'd be all to play for on Saturday at the main event.
You gotta keep in mind that race was only 25 laps. We gotta do 50 on Saturday, and that changes the whole dynamics of the way the car works that last half of that race. So that there was like heat races, just go, 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 and you can't run that pace 50 laps on Saturday. So it'll play towards our hands, and hopefully we got everything tuned in the way we need it.
Nestled in the Iowa cornfields, the usually sleepy town of Knoxville was bustling in anticipation of the main event at the 56th Annual Knoxville Nationals. A sellout crowd creating a carnival atmosphere.
Kerry MADSON, I've seen him run 2 or 3 times this year, and he's ready.
Aussie! Truthfully, Donny Schatz.
After 3 days of action-packed racing from the world's finest sprint car drivers, Saturday would see the final preparations before the main feature race of the night, with Tony Stewart Racing's Donny Schatz seeking his 10th title.
I think Shane was the guy from our preliminary night. Now tonight it's a whole different group of drivers and teams, and Danny Lasowski, who used to drive for TSR for us, is running tonight, and he runs really well here too. So there's a lot of guys tonight that can have a big weekend as well.
A lot of guys capable of doing a lot of things. It's just what spot they're in. You know, that you get to be in a spot where you got nothing to lose, and you try a little something, you might get onto something. You just never know how it's going to work out.
As for the rest of the grid for the A main feature race, commentator Johnny GIBSON had kept a watchful eye over the previous nights.
Wednesday night, Shane Stewart in victory lane. He'll roll off 8th on the grid in tonight's big dance. Thursday night winner Tim Kading. Craig Kinser, he'll go off last in the main event. He's a 2005 winner here. Can he climb all the way to the top?
We got that magic ticket with the Speed Sport Challenge, and winning that thing just changed our whole week. And it went from a mediocre to a good weekend.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I've been here several times before, and a lot of time to think about what needs to be done and what you need to do. And for me personally, get over that one last hurdle of trying to win this Knoxville Nationals.
Although he was a champion at the Knoxville track in 2005, Australian sprint car veteran Kerry MADSON has never won the Nationals title.
The qualifying nights are way more pressure intense because it can go wrong really easy and you can be sitting in the D main and that's your weekend. But we've got a good points haul, we're in a good position for the A main, and now it's just down to a good old race.
As the sun set and the dust settled with the final support races done, we were ready for the big one, the A main feature. And after a tribute to the late Brian Clausen, a fellow racer who sadly passed away just days before, it was time to go racing, with many of the drivers dedicating their race to BC.
Knoxville Raceway, you one of the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the world of Outlaws craftsman sprint cars in the 5-hour energy Knoxville Nationals.
It was Darren Pittman who took off with the race lead as the pre-race favourite Donny Schatz tucked in behind the number 41 Jason Johnson on the bottom of the track. On lap 13, Schatz manoeuvred the number 15 to the front for the first time. But the leaders began closing in on the back of the field and the traffic gave surprise challenger Johnson the chance to close the gap. But Schatz held on to his lead coming into the pits for the mandatory 3-minute fuel and tyre stop, and flawless work from his TSR pit crew left the defending champ just where he needed to be. Racing resumed, and there was door-banging, wheel-to-wheel action for several laps before Johnson emerged with the lead of the race. In the final 3 laps, Schatz was inches from the Louisiana man, but he couldn't get by, and the number 41 car crossed for victory in one of the closest ever Knoxville Nationals.
The goal was to win, obviously, but I think we were probably a little bit too good in that first part. When I took off on the second part, I just couldn't stick the bottom like I did when we stopped.
I wasn't giving up. I mean, this is the biggest race of the year and the biggest race of my career, and we're gonna have a party. Yeah!